play safe, watch safe. You know, the safety mechanics are for you guys too. Always do the right thing for you. Thank you very much. Now on to the thing we just warned you about.
Little by little, piece by piece, I take back what's been stolen from me. Little by little, piece by piece, until I'm complete. Got my eyes on you, and you got no clue what I'm supposed to do. I can't help myself. Little by little, piece by piece, I take back what's been stolen from me. Little by little, piece by piece, until I'm complete. Take was not yours. If you know who I am, when the night will fall, I'll haunt your dreams. Little by little, piece by piece, I take back what's been stolen from me. Little by little.
Clara, you burst through the door of your sister's bedroom, her blood on your hands, your fear in your heart. Where are you going in this moment?
To Matthew's room, because gotta wake him up. Need help.
Okay. As you now, are we running? Are we limping? Are we staggering? Like, what's our movement verb?
Oh, like dashing, kind of limp dashing. It's as fast as she can go.
I almost want to call it the Hitchcock stagger.
Oh yes, that makes sense. Slightly leaning against the wall dramatically.
Yes. Now, before as you bang on Matthew's door, let's see how Matthew is. So Matthew, let's roll your nightmares.
Yay.
And see if we go for a hat trick of bad trips.
I haven't slept in like forever in this game, so this is exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I don't have any, like my stability is pretty good, so I think I don't have any negatives. That looks like an 11. So not great, but not terrible.
Not as bad as it could be, though.
Yeah. So. Not a 9.
Not a 9. That was just like, don't roll. Please do not get sucked into the dream tonight. Wouldn't that be the worst? I think that just means I get a move. Because I thought I had the page up.
Yeah, this one is like life's not great. I'm having unpleasant times.
Yeah.
And I think I lose some stability.
I think you do too.
But
well, I think generally we can agree that losing one stability for the way you're woken up and the things that you're about to experience in the next few moments is adequate for a small loss. Okay.
Yeah. So. It states you may make a move and I have -1 ongoing until I sleep. Or no, that's if I can't sleep at all. So you basically get to choose from the list of different things. So if yours is that you'd rather be stability, kind of just lose some stability, that's cool.
But I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Matthew, you are not entirely certain what kind of a nightmare you have. This wasn't one of the ones that kind of had a linear storyline. This wasn't an experience. This was more just kind of like a being trapped in a feeling, hooked on one could say, and you just get it. It is difficult because it feels like there's multiple layers of it, but it feels like fever sweat and like that stickiness of being in a bed for too long and fever sweat, but also there's kind of it's like a rotten fruit vibe. It's just a very sort of unhealthy in bed too long, the nasty gross pus that was underneath the tiles at the oracular hospital kind of vibe. And you just feel, and the thing is this would be terrible all by itself if you just like had to spend an indeterminate period of time mentally existing in this state. But there is a sense of wherever you are of like whale-sized somethings around you. You can feel the pressure of other shapes and bodies moving around you and affecting your environment in that kind of having a speedboat go over your head while you're swimming.
Ooh,
kind of way.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Of turbulence and pressure and size and how close death came. And thankfully, when Clara about knocks your fucking door off its hinges, when you wake up, you are merely just sweating.
Okay.
You had a long night, you haven't slept enough, you were not feeling good, you know, and you wake up and all of those things are still true.
Okay. So yeah, he'll jolt awake because and try to like throw off the sort of remaining detritus of the dream from his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll get up and go to the door. Is Clara saying anything while she's knocking, or is she just knocking?
No, just knocking she's like pretty fiercely going, Matthew, it's me. You gotta we're an emergency. You gotta let me in. Come on, it's me.
He'll open the door immediately.
Much of Bethany's blood on her hands to like risk pulling out the key or opening the door because she doesn't want to draw attention to them in the hotel, despite this panic knock she's doing.
So he'll open the door quickly because he can if she's vocalizing. And when he sees the blood on her, what's her condition? Like, what am I seeing?
She looks mostly fine. She's a little pale and shaky and is probably actually in her nightgown. No, she's still in this dress because she passed out clothed. Yeah, so she's in the dress from the night before, and is looking shaky but doesn't look injured. It doesn't. Okay. The blood doesn't seem to be coming from her.
Mostly no. A notation. It seems like at this moment with this level of inspection, it looks like Clara has suddenly gotten a terrible case of dry lips because her lips look cracked. You know, not like flesh hanging off them in tatters. It looks like she's had something bad happen to her mouth, but a very normal thing, so to speak.
So with her having blood on her hands, mentioning the word Bethany, like he's only getting like snippets of this. He just woke up, essentially. But he's going to grab the bottle of rubbing alcohol that they bought on the way out of the room because he's just going to bolt out to follow Clara to the other room next door. But like, I feel like that one thing where he's like, maybe this will come in handy. Don't have any context of what's going on other than that blood is involved.
Yes.
And as they're I don't even think that there's time for him to ask her like what's going on until they're inside the room again. Like, cause he's gonna basically like go with her to book it to the other room so that they're not necessarily just like waiting in the hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you match her urgency, then absolutely.
Yeah.
There's, no time to do anything. All right. Bethany, did you ever change, or were you still in your clothes as well?
No, I was still in my clothes too.
Okay. Yeah, okay. There is nothing from my side that will inhibit any of you entering the room. So,
Yeah. What do I
Bethany, where are
see?
we at? What do we look like?
Bleeding from the weird gapy wound in her chest that she got in the Dreams place. So she is on the bed. It's probably where Clara left her as they came out of Drugland, holding her hand with the amount of like probably a handkerchief that is rapidly becoming more red, holding her hand over her chest.
Yes.
As soon as the door closes, Matthew's going to say, as he's like literally traveling to the bed, what happened? Were you attacked?
Sort of?
I don't think so.
Not.
It was a dream, or it was some weird, but it wasn't like the dreams we used to have. I don't know. We need to get you help. Should I get David?
Get David.
Okay.
And he's going to, if he's basically going like to sit on the edge of the bed where Bethany is, and if she allows him, is going to try to see like what's going on underneath that handkerchief.
Hey, it's bloody.
Like, does this look like a wound that was like what, like, is this a cut? Is this it's a gaping hole of some sort, but like what happened?
There is a wine cork. Thankfully not a champagne cork, because that would be a whole separate problem. Merely a normal wine bottle cork sized plug of flesh missing from Bethany's like upper pectoral. Yes.
Yeah.
And you like,
So it's almost like a bullet.
no, it's far bigger than a bullet.
Okay.
I mean, bullets start with small holes. Unless
Small
they're
holes, yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's a shotgun, in which case that's more of a bulk transfer sort of situation.
Oh my God. My only sadness is that Matthew has no military experience, because I know the best triage solution for this, but I don't think that Matthew would know.
Probably not.
Yeah, because like I know that like in the reason why I said like almost like a bullet situation is that like technically originally, weirdly enough, the triage solution for this in like I think it was like in World War II or something like that, and maybe even earlier, was actually tampons.
That's what Erica said. Yep.
Yeah, because you can just get that right in there, and it's a really good absorbent way of doing that. But I don't think that Matthew would have any contacts to be able to know that. So instead, he's mainly going to be looking like to see whether or not this is something that like if it looks fresh, and like if there's any like other damage to the skin around it.
I'm going to tell you that it looks super duper weird in that it almost looks like it's been like gouged out or cut out like with maybe a knife, because it doesn't look clean, and it doesn't look like it was a single like.
Yeah.
It is, to Matthew's eyes, the wound is inexplicable, very deep, far too big around for a bullet hole.
Yeah.
And still, thankfully, not squirting in time with her heart. But there's definitely a steady, extremely disquieting ooze of blood.
After he sees it and like sees how deep it is, he will have her move her hand back to put and like help her put pressure on it. Basically, while they're trying to get like while waiting for Clara to get David, because his sort of viewpoint is like, I don't have the medical training or knowledge to know how to deal with a wound this big. You know, like, and David probably does, at least in a very basic triage element of it, right? Like,
yeah,
he's dealt with this sort of violent trauma in not ideal settings before. And
Yes.
his sort of view is like, before we get a doctor involved, we need someone who can make it so that she can get to a doctor.
Yes.
And he will, while doing so, be like, I need to know what happened.
We went to Metropolis. Clara used stuff, and I could go with her, so we went to Metropolis, I think, and found a place with a door, and there were people there and shot at us / me, and then we had to dig something out, and I don't remember terribly much more.
Is this from the digging out?
Yes.
I'm gonna pause waiting because I know that Clara's
Yeah.
getting her friend.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
David's only 10 feet down the hall.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far without like having
Yeah,
to be able to
she's
come back in.
yeah, she
Okay.
wipes off some of the blood on her red skirt, fortunately, and dashes down the hall and frantically on David's door. David, are you
Yes.
in? Please tell me you're awake.
The door, like, just because I love the visual, the door, like, essentially creaks open as if he never shut it or, like, locked it.
Okay.
And David is sitting on the bed, fully dressed,
Mm-hmm.
like shoes, shirt, everything, sitting on the bed in the dark, fully dressed, like his hands in his lap. And when his attention shifts to you, his eyes traverse the completely dark room like spotlights, like Smog from Ralph Bakshi's The Hobbit, where the eyes lit up and like went across the room in that kind of golden. Yeah. For a minute there, you could imagine that instead of a person, there is a person-shaped sentry tower sitting on the bed. And he blinks and the light goes away.
Bethany's hurt. We need to get her help or get her to help. I'm not certain which, but can you come help, please?
Yes, he stands up, and the only thing he does before not running but briskly walking in his troubleshooting walk is he grabs the pillow and just pulls the whole pillow out of it and starts folding the pillowcase with very calm, business-like actions. It's David. Nothing bothers him that is related to death and destruction. And
Clara probably at least slightly smells like blood. Probably
Mhm.
get it all off her hands. So
Yep.
yeah, back down the hall. Frantically
Okay.
push the door open. Okay, David's here.
David comes in, gives Bethany, he gives you like not angry, but just like a really? Really? And then David is going to come over and start applying pressure with a pad with the
Yeah.
the bandage of the time. Probably some rubbing alcohol to fake some sterilization or whatever,
Yeah.
late 50s emergency bedroom triage calls for.
Yeah.
That's basically like where Matthew's at. He'll move to give David, like basically to trade off on the pressure keeping. So that David can step in and we'll make sure that he has the rubbing alcohol at hand if he needs it. In the meantime, he's gonna let David do like a little bit of the basic work first before then asking, is this something that we need to call someone for?
She could do with stitches and some sterilization. I don't see any froth, so it hasn't hit her lung. It's not squirting, so it hasn't hit a major vein or artery.
Right.
I could cauterize it. And for a moment, the room goes quiet as we consider how David would cauterize a wound.
Yeah. No. I think that the response from Matthew is he's not going to really bat an eye at that, but he's just going to say, since it's not frothing or squirting, I don't think that's necessary in this context, unless you think she'll bleed out before we can get someone to help.
She won't bleed out before we get someone to help.
I'm going to make a phone call. And specifically, I'm wondering if I can. Because, like, I don't know if this would be something where I could do an influential friends poll, if that's actually possible in such a small town. Or if this is more something where I am trying, like, basically he's trying to see if he can find someone that can be discreet. And I'm trying to figure out, like, if I have something that can allow for that kind of discretion.
Well, considering that, like, 2 hours ago, a pharmacy in town just got broken into and ransacked.
Yeah.
Like, I
There's
think
a reason I want
also
to be discreet.
I feel like also there was Clara and Bethany did some like first aid planning or troubleshooting at last game.
Okay.
Did you guys come to a decision?
No, not really. Clara kind of looks up and goes, I know she was hungry in the dream, really hungry, and if we had somebody else for her to feed off of, that could help too.
Would it heal you? And he will look at Bethany at this.
Maybe. Worth a try.
Let's do the stitches first. David, do you have anything that we could use for that, or should I get something?
No, I do not have anything for stitches.
Then do we have access to a sewing kit, which is not good for human people stitches, but it's good for when you have to make it too.
I'm sure that between the four of you, somebody has a needle and thread. Like, does anyone remotely have the experience or technical skill for doing this?
Oh, I assume the only one of us that could do something like this would be David, if at all.
Yeah, this is not going to be like,
it's not going to be pretty.
Doing stitches and anything more than like immediate, like get them from the battlefield to the triage tent care is not inside the Swiss Army War Angel.
The goal that Matthew has is that he wants to get her to a point where we can put her in a car, be okay for the few hours that it would take to get out the fuck out, and to where we actually have someone who is a mob doctor who could actually like redo the stitches and like redo like the care, because that's his desires to like get the fuck back to Las Vegas at this point.
At this point, as scary and unsettling as the wound is, it is only, air quotes, only a serious wound.
Yeah.
She does not require immediate medical attention. It would be better if Bethany received medical attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have to discuss things like infection and poor healing and a bunch of other problems, but it's not like she's dying.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of where he's at.
Yeah.
So what he's going to do is he's going to take one of the glasses in the room. He's going to fill it with some rubbing alcohol. He will drop in, he will thread the needle. He'll drop it into the rubbing alcohol. Yeah, this is where we're at. This is our life and our choices. So that David can use it and it at least will be sterile. As much as it can be in this sort of context. And basically, he's going to make a call to the doctor in Las Vegas that we have, who helped with his finger and stuff like that, where it's like, we're going to be here in like whatever amount of hours it takes for us to fucking drive. I will like obviously like duly compensate the quickness that this requires.
Yes. She also, to reinforce, Bethany doesn't need stitches to get back to Las Vegas.
Well, I just don't want her bleeding places.
She's going to. Like, incorrectly done stitching is not going to reduce the amount of blood that's leaking. It's simply going to change the shape of the dribble.
Then never mind. With the thing. I think it's just going to be, we're going to be shuffling into the car real fast.
Yeah. Clara looks definitely vaguely nauseous and almost going to puke, but then as Matthew like drops the needle, she goes, I don't think we should. Why don't we just get her in the car? And if it gets really bad, we will find somebody along the road that she can snack on.
Let's go.
Okay. So are you just like drop ass and run?
I think Clara's going to say, you all help her get into the car. I'll pack everything very quickly, toss it in the trunk, and we'll go.
Okay.
Because it'll take time to move her, especially moving her without gaining too much attention. So Clara can throw things in bags sloppily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the pack your shit scene from Boondock Saints.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And Bethany, look at her, like, don't forget anything. Specifically. 2 things she is talking about. 1, which is Clara's own drugs, and 2, your maggots that you threw up. I want them.
Yes. I won't. I got it.
Matthew will also say, pack everything that's gone bloody.
Yes.
We need to take that with us.
Yep.
I'm going to roll really quickly. I keep it together because like because of the fact that like Matthew is trying to be very goal oriented and very like good for this, but also, oh my God.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, do you think that the challenge is keeping it together or being efficient under pressure? Like, which one?
It might be act under pressure. I'm going to say act under pressure because like a lot of this is like, I don't want to imply that like Matthew's not affected by this. It's just that the way that his like toxic stoicism requires him to deal with his emotions is to like conceal, don't feel, and put them in a box. But I want it to be clear that like that is something that does require him to take an effort.
I actually would like to lobby for keep it together.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is a situation where conceal, don't feel might collapse.
Yeah. So that is cool. Which is a 2 for me. So that is a total of 15.
Good. So conceal, don't feel continues to work. Toxic masculinity is an effective coping mechanism.
Yep. There's no problems that ever come from this.
Yeah, this is fine.
This is very healthy.
Oh boy.
It's fine. Everything will be okay.
Okay. So I'm going to assume that someone thinks to like throw a handful of bills on the counter.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We overpay is the thing. Cause like I'm going to give the fact that like Matthew is kind of frantic. He's not going to really look into like how many he's putting down necessarily. Like it's not going to be absurdly over, but it's going to be a bit over.
Yeah.
It's like he'd rather pay over than have to deal with like breaking bills down or something like that.
Yeah. So what I want Bethany to do is I want you to just roll a straight unaltered roll, just 1 through 15 for bad fucking luck.
Oh no.
That's a 9.
Okay. Oh, I love it. So as you guys like, so we treat the checkout desk like a stripper pole, and we like, you guys like blast out of the front of this little inn like Bizarro World Scooby-Doo. And standing there staring at all of you way too late at night / early in the morning is the adorable little lady that runs the inn.
Oh no, the gossip lady.
Is the gossip lady. Yup. And she has in her hands, like, if I say a fish crate, do you guys know what I mean? Like one of those like old fashioned, like 18-inch by 12 by 8, like little wooden crates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one of those little like farm crates that people just threw stuff in because they were around. And she has that. And in it is like a jug of milk and what looks like some flour and maybe some shortening and all this other stuff. Like, you guys walked in on her coming in early to make a big breakfast for you guys.
Oh no.
And here you are blasting out of the hotel, bloody, in her eyes, clearly intoxicated. I mean, with the stumbling and the strangeness, like Clara has a trash can from her room in her hand that reeks of vomit. It's a terrible scene.
Yeah. It's times like this that I wish that we had memory altering powers in this game.
I am so sorry. We have to get back to Las Vegas. We've left some extra money for the cleaning. Have a good morning. I'm so sorry. And Claire's just trying to smooth them past before she can ask more questions.
Okay. I heard you. Her eyes are anime sized. They are now going from like the corner of her mouth to like above her hairline. And you can all see the beginning of panic. Like this is a small town, a nice, like harmless little old small town gossip. And this is insane. Like this has got like, she has failed her keep it together role. And you can see without a doubt, her beginning to draw breath, to scream. Like her mouth is hung open. Clara's like, no, don't worry, everything's fine. We have to leave. Super sorry. We gave you a whole bunch of money. Please let money work.
Yes.
And like, she doesn't seem to process it. I mean, she's not okay. And you can see like her chest swell as she as she fills her lungs.
So that's a thing.
Bethany, how hungry are you?
Great.
I'm actually going to ask, then, we had talked a little bit about the other thing that I might be getting. Would now be a time that I would be able to manifest that, or should I wait?
Let's wait.
Then on that, I'm going to attempt to calm her down. And we'll see if I can.
Okay.
Matthew's going to step forward. And he, like, if we were able to, like, get things, like when he handed off to, like, David, he probably was at least able to get his hands somewhat not bloody. Since we had to also, like, get stuff together. And he would put a hand on her shoulder. And he will lower his voice in an intimate manner and say, it's really important to us that you understand that my sister's illness took a turn for the worse that we had come here for. And we need to go back to the city because the doctor that we came here to help with us wasn't able to do anything because we couldn't find them. And we're going to try to find a better way for her to get help. But there were she had a very, very bad night. And I'm really worried and scared for her because she's my family. And we are asking for you to understand that and to give us your blessings, because I think we need your prayers.
You get some of that out.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, that was a lot. And she was preparing to scream.
Yeah.
You reach out and you start to soothe. Bethany, I think you had a sixth sense left over.
Oh, yeah.
From last game.
Yeah.
You are the only one that knows that David is about to tear her head off. Like, Matthew is reaching out, and you can see, like, your brother, like, he went from asleep to upright but not awake and scared to troubleshooting Matthew to I am making this go away by being the calmest person in the room. Because you've seen Matthew do this. Like, this is his skill. Yeah. He's had these big, sweaty, like, floor workers yell at him. And he's just stood there and just taken it and responded very calmly. That is Matthew's power. He is ice fucking cold, especially when he knows he owns the place he's standing. And he is about to do it, but we are already tipping off the precipice of panic here in this poor lady's mind. And David is gonna kill her. Like, Matthew is starting to talk, and you can see him getting ready to do this, and David is about to just drop the bag he's holding and just annihilate her.
No. I talk. Not helping. She can, like, catch his eye to shake her head or tell him not to. She's going to attempt to tell David no.
Okay. I need you to act under pressure.
Okay. I rolled a 6. It's not gonna be good.
I don't think you're going to end up with +3 under act under pressure.
Don't think I do that. Yeah.
Because that's plus coolness.
Oh God, Bethany is not cool. Nope, that's a -1 to that. So 5.
Okay.
Nope, fail. Sorry, lady, I tried.
Can we ramp up the disaster a lot?
Yeah.
I guess.
No, it's okay to say no. Like, yeah. we can have the disaster rating go from like a 3 to like a spinal tap 11.
I mean, it's the sort of thing where if Bethany is the only one who would have the time to be able to do anything with David, that's just how that is.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like.
But I'm asking the players, like, yes, I kind of this situation, but how bad do you want her 5 to be? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I'll leave that in the person who rolled the 5 hands.
I mean, I'm gonna say disaster times. Like, go for it. She did not do well in that, and is wounded and in pain, and things are fuzzy, and we're trying to get in a car, and someone's about to scream, and David's about to kill her, and that's not gonna be a thing. That can't, like, town's gonna know that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, like, it's bad.
The thing that happens to Bethany is that what actually goes through Bethany's mind is not, oh shit, David's going to kill this person, and that's going to be a cover problem. It's, oh shit, David is going to kill my food.
Yeah, don't like that either.
And what she does is Bethany actually starts to do something, and the scream starts to come out as like a gurgling whimper. Matthew, something terrible is happening. Lady who's like, you are in the middle of your speech.
Yep.
And like, you see the screams start, and in Matthew's eyes, you're like, I had a 1.5 minute long monologue and I had 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And you see her start to scream, and you know, your thought processes are what they are. And then when the scream should come out, something wet and gurgling starts to come out instead. Like this choking, like seizure-y sound. And you can see something start to happen to her. Something bad.
Yeah.
What do you do about it?
I mean, there's not anything that he can really do about it, I would say.
No, there's not. At this point, it's only a question of do you believe that you should take steps to prevent Bethany from outright killing this girl? Because that's essentially the either or.
He'll look back at Bethany, because it's like, if someone suddenly starts dying, he's gonna assume it's Bethany.
Yes.
Fair. It's fair.
And there's definitely like a look that goes over his face that's like fucking pissed off.
That's fair.
And he gently takes the tray, the crate from this woman's hands, so she doesn't drop it.
Okay. That's so cold.
Because he's like, well, we don't need a
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Clara, in this moment, do you do anything or just stare in horror?
Staring in horror. Taking the crate was her thought too. Stare in horror, and then probably as she realizes Matthew's taking the crate, she comes around the other side. I'm gonna assume we've got the bags in the car at least. Like we were going.
No, you guys just came right out.
Yeah,
the door.
we came right out the door.
Okay.
was-
Claire's hands are full of bags. Yep. Stare in horror. That's where she is.
Okay.
Are there any other people around?
Not currently. This is one of the very few useful things about this town is that everybody goes to bed on time for the most part.
Great.
But boy, it could go real bad real fast.
Yeah, it sure could. Like, I know what like Matthew's current mental plans are right now, but it depends on what is happening.
I think that's I want to look up a power or a disadvantage technically. Because I want yeah, because you don't have that. Not cannibalism, soul thirst. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that there was no recuperative. So Bethany, yes.
Yeah.
You kill this person.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It is not your greatest moment because like as you do, you can also hear her confusion and her panic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also feel some of her last fleeting sense memories of like her fingers going over a book. The book that she paged through to like check her ingredient lists and things for making like biscuits and whatever. This lady, as much as she was a gossip, was generally a good person. As good as a human kind of sort of can be. And you there. And that was not your greatest moment. So it's a little bit, it feels very like Clara's, like you've seen Clara, where you can do the like, I can convince myself to do something super stupid because I've already done a little bit of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And so you stand there, and there is a moment where you look around, and siblings, you can see this because kind of, you know, your sister, and you can sit in this moment. Bethany could do something absolutely terrible. If you,
I mean, she's already eating the soul, from what I'm saying.
yeah, but it can go to Earl very easily.
I don't know what the next step of this is.
Eating one of us.
Possible.
There is a possible. You do not know how many people Bethany would consume unless someone gets her back on her feet.
Yeah.
It's that it. She is not a stable being.
Yeah.
And it could be super convenient in a way, like it's a version of stealth in which no one is alive to watch you leave.
Mm-hmm.
But are you willing to disaster an entire small town?
Yeah, no. Does this kill the woman? Like, is she dead?
Dead. She's so dead.
Okay.
Like she last 10 minutes of Raiders of the Lost Ark dead.
Yeah. So when she dies, that's when he's going to be like, that's enough.
Bethany, the car. We need to get out of here. And Claire's like dashing to the car to throw the bags in there and then come back. So she has free hands if she needs it.
Matthew will hand her the crate that he took from the woman for her to put that in the car.
Yep, grabs it too and puts it in the car.
And he will pick up the woman to put her in the trunk because we're not leaving the body behind.
That's fair.
Because that's where he's at right now.
Yeah.
Like, he, outside of looking at Bethany and saying that's enough, like, he is just not speaking at this point.
Mad as hell.
Yeah.
And he is just acting and like putting her in the trunk, closing the trunk. Like, if Bethany is not already in the car at this point, he will maneuver her to the car if she lets him.
Yeah, she's maneuverable. I think because she kind of did it this time without meaning to, and she's only ever had control or like done a like at Souls on purpose, and has never like, aside from other Bethany's, she hasn't like killed anybody with it. She's just, you know, gently destroyed their psyches. So she didn't mean to do that, and she's a little in shock.
Yeah.
About what just happened. So yeah, I think she's just standing there.
Yeah, he's going to like physically, basically like pick up the dead woman, put the dead woman in the trunk.
Yep.
Close the trunk, move Bethany to the car.
Yep.
Sit Bethany in the seat.
Yeah.
Close the door.
Yep.
Is David driving or is Matthew driving?
I assume that David is driving because he's the better driver.
That is true.
Is David getting into the seat to do so, though, is the question.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to...
He's not trying to take over like people's roles. Like, he assumes that Clara knows what she's doing. And so he's not going to be maneuvering her anywhere because he's like, she knows what to fucking do. But like, he is literally at this point just being like, if people are not going to move in the lines that I feel would have been the smart way to do things, I'm going to physically show them where the lines are and move them into those places. There's one thing that he's going to try to do that I don't think is going to work because it's almost a thing of he's trying to do it to see if it doesn't work, which is divine. And he's going to try that on Bethany to see whether or not she counts.
Oh, that's super gross. I love it.
And not for control, for soothing. Because you can do either soothe or control.
Yeah.
And his big thing is my sister is my sister a monster, right?
Yep.
For how this exists. Because I know that this works on monsters. I know this doesn't work on humans. I don't know what my sister is right now. And quite frankly, I don't care. But I need to know.
Oh yeah, it's just this is when you like open a beer and have a really long conversation about read as written / read as intended.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like I'm like looking at the like on an out of character level. I don't know.
You think
how
I
this
do?
works? So like I feel like it's like to all you watchers out there. Fuck if I know if this actually would work.
Yeah.
It's a weird litmus test, right?
Yeah. Ooh. Now, what was the thing that we talked about?
So we had talked about that as Matthew kind of continues to lean into what he is and his own personal journey of enlightenment, for better or for worse, that his inherent he naturally has divine, which only works on creatures.
Yeah.
And we had talked about that would eventually expand to, I'm trying to remember what it's called. It is the sort of expanded version of sorry, I'm just getting the exact wording, which is was it commanding voice or was it a different one? Or no, it was, yeah, I think that it was that was like something that would because divine does both soothing and obey, whereas commanding voice is just about obey. But commanding voice works on everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I just found it. So when you give a PC an order, they have to keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
rule
how
that I just read.
Yeah, if they yeah, like that's the determination of whether or not like they are they get hit by it.
Yes.
But he's not giving her an order in this case. He's not using commanding voice. He's using divine.
Okay.
Which I don't think works.
Divine won't work.
That's why he's using it, is to see whether or not it works or not. That's literally the only reason.
Okay.
It's to see if he can, if his presence soothes her in the same way that it has soothed the monsters that he has dealt with.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, that's fine, because that's kind of heartening in a way.
Yeah.
He's like, well, there's at least a little bit more in there. I don't have to be worried that I have lost my sister, is kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Is like, that's his own sort of like, I think I would have had to keep it together myself if it had worked.
Okay.
So like he tries to do that. It doesn't do anything. I don't even know if there's a physical, like the divine doesn't really have, I don't know how it really manifests when you're not a creature. Because like the creature sees something within you. But if you're not, I think nothing happens necessarily.
It's so specifically written of a power.
Yeah.
That I just want to say that it doesn't work. However, what you can do is roll influence other.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be doing that anyway.
So just roll influence other, which is plus charisma.
That was a base 15, so plus 3.
Sounds pretty compelling.
It is an 18.
Okay. So you have some role playing to do with Kate.
Yes. So normally Matthew sits up in the front. He's actually going to have Clara sit up in the front for right now, because he's going to get in the back with Bethany, so that he can continue to put on the pressure while we're driving. After kind of, I don't want to say manhandling her into the back, but kind of like forcefully guiding her into the back. And he will first just start with like, are you still hungry?
Not as always hungry. No, not as bad. It's better.
It's definitely clear that you had a much higher positive result in wherever you were than here.
Yeah.
It feels like you definitely received a physical healing response, either in Metropolis / Dreamtropolis.
Yeah.
And here, like, you killed someone and you are merely like, you feel like you've got the tryptophan high, which isn't really what you need right now.
No.
Mormons are full of tryptophan. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
You need to warn us before you to do that.
I didn't mean to.
This might be something that we need to work on some control about.
He's trying to stop. And she whispers that, like, as quietly as she can to Matthew, as David is currently driving the car.
He will whisper back to her very, very quietly. That is something that we need to talk about more when we're back. But shouldn't here. We will clean things up. And at least we got ready for the body. I just need you to be careful, because I don't want this to be something that controls you instead of you controlling it. And he will give her a kiss on the forehead as he is pressing her fucking bloody wound.
Yes.
And will lean his forehead against hers for a little bit in the way that they do sometimes when they are having their bonding moments. And it's clear he is genuinely worried about her, because if there's a situation where if this is a sign of what is to come, he knows that she's going to have less ability to function even as much as she has been in this world, and he doesn't want her to have to leave yet, because they're not ready to follow her.
Yeah.
I think that's most of he's just going to basically sit and use kind of the excuse of, oh, I have to put this triage pressure on you to be able to give her physical comfort in a way where it's not that I'm being huggy or cuddly. I'm just comforting you and your pain womanhood. So it's okay to be giving a hug.
Yes.
It's okay we're hugging.
Yeah.
Even,
Okay.
not like I need that or anything. It's for you, really.
It's fine. Bethany doesn't need a hug. It's okay.
It's either that or a slap.
Fucking can't. I just love it. He's like, I kind of need a hug right now. This is for you because of your emotions. That must be very overwhelming for you right now. I'm fine though. I'm good.
Yeah.
We ride off into the sunset with no problems whatsoever, and I'm sure there will be no issues or repercussions that come from this.
Yeah. Clara, so you're in the front seat with David
Yep.
while your siblings are having some kind of a whispered conversation.
Mm-hmm.
David doesn't look mad, but he's got kind of like an impatient look, maybe. He's really tough to read.
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly he's got some amount of what like negative emotion going on. But he's also kind of like settled into that, like, I have to drive 3 hours all of a sudden in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Rolls down a window, lights a cigarette.
I know she took your kill. It would have made things more complicated, I suspect. But once we get back and she's safe, you can go do what you need to. We just have to get back.
His kind of like quiet, thoughtful finger tapping like slows as you talk, and his eyebrows furrow, and he actually like rotates his head actually to look over at you, Clara, which is a rarity in like Mr. Stoic / traumatized. And he says, it's not just about killing.
What's it about?
It's about war. It's about you never leave it behind. I don't need to just kill anyone.
Who do you want to kill then?
Other soldiers.
Oh, she wasn't a soldier.
No. And that wasn't a kill.
Mm.
That was housekeeping. That was my job.
That makes more sense.
I'm not upset that Bethany killed someone. I'm frustrated because Miss Van Horst did my job faster than I could.
She's had a very long night.
Yes, she did.
Whereas shakily lights a cigarette too and tries not to think of the bucket of vomit at her feet, or the drugs that are definitely in her purse next to the bucket.
Okay.
But yeah, she's probably definitely in shaky times now.
Yeah. So it's a 3-hour drive. You stop about halfway for gas and probably really like 5 a.m. coffee. Matthew, this would probably be when you get to a payphone and rattle up a particular mob doctor. So do you want to roll your influential friends?
Let's go.
Are your friends influential?
Yes, so they're going to ask something from me, which is understandable.
Okay.
Because that was 10.
Okay.
It's not the worst it could be, but not perfect.
Yeah. Let me think about what about the cost.
Yeah,
but he agrees to meet you, at the hotel side door. We've already done this at least once, if not twice.
Yep. Hello. It's us, the people who keep getting injured.
Yes. How does it feel when you can see the lights of Las Vegas on the horizon, when you go over that final hill, or probably more accurately around that, that rise of land? When you see the glowing lights of Las Vegas, when you see the neon reflecting off the cloud cover in that kind of kaleidoscopic mayhem that was Las Vegas before anyone really understood light pollution. All, full power, coal burning glory of the American boom. And you see the beautiful tall buildings, and you can see the sprawl reaching out. How does it feel to the three of you? Hurt, still high, recently thrown up. Matthew has a lot going on, some ups, some downs, some strangeness. How does all of that feel to you guys as you return to this bigger city, this bright, Sin City?
Oh, I feel like it's such a relief. Claire's just, thank fuck. She lights a celebratory cigarette.
Okay.
I want to say that Matthew has a moment where it's that's sort of relief, oh, good. That's great. I'm glad that we're going home. And then stops it because we're not.
No.
So I feel like the emotions he is feeling is mixed.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm here, but it's not exactly where I want to be.
Yeah, and weirdly homesick.
All of the light has that stigmatism halo, and everything's slightly too bright, and it feels like the beginning of a migraine. That's how Las Vegas feels to Bethany.
Okay.
And all of it, it's that thing where your body is not comfortable. And part of that is she is in pain and been in this car and oozy and got to eat, but it wasn't as good. And now eating here will never be as good as eating there ever. And yeah, that thing,
Okay.
being in your body feels uncomfortable. That's where Bethany is.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty terrible mix. So it's 9:23. We usually take a break around here. So let's take about 10, and then we will roll back into Las Vegas and see what's up.
Yeah, sounds good.
So
Sounds good.
everybody stretch your legs, drink your water,
Yeah.
and we'll see you in a couple minutes. Bethany is assisted into the bedroom at your hotel, the Tropicana. Once again, thankfully, you are in a strata of society where the privilege of sneaking in and out the back door of wherever you are, there's you got to come in the back door. There's you're not allowed in the back door, and then you're allowed to use the back door. It's interesting how that's bracketed, and so it's almost unsettlingly easy to get someone with bloody clothes and everything else into the Tropicana through the back door. The doctor shows up. He gives Matthew a hi, how are you? Because of course, that's what happens in this era. He says, Saleza, he doesn't mind that I'm here, but I was on the clock when you called. He'd kind of like to get together with you and maybe solidify your friendship. See if there's anything that you guys can help each other with. That kind of, you know what I mean.
Who am I to turn down a friend in need?
Ooh, you got the lines. You're going to be fine.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it's a weird compliment for the gangster mob doctor to be like, you already know the lingo, boy.
Matthew over here like, I've been practicing in my head. I'm not gonna sound bad in front of the mobsters again.
I've watched Casablanca 12 times.
Had to sell on that. No, but yeah, he will. But yeah, like he tries to be very like business, but he will make a note to call Saleza soon.
Yeah. So, Bethany, the doctor is here.
Yep.
To refresh, this was the mob doctor that was there when David had his fight in the fighting ring. He was the one that didn't know who you were and asked if you were there to give David a blowjob before the fight.
Yep.
And Bethany had to struggle to not disarticulate him.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, but also he's been here before. I think he took care of Clara, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it is to refresh also, it is clear that this mob doctor has an unsettling amount of experience dealing with injured, jumpy women.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no good reason for him to have that skill set as refined as he does.
Yep. Yeah.
Like there is no good answer for how he has developed that skill. I will allow your own minds to fill in some of the many ways why a mob doctor would know how to patch up women in fraught emotional states.
Yep.
However, what he does is, the first thing that he does, Bethany, is he expresses no small amount of alarm over this cut, over this wound.
Mm-hmm.
Very much like, who the fuck, how the fuck, what the fuck? Like, did someone stab you with a corkscrew?
Not exactly.
Not exactly. Were they trying to find out if you had uranium in you? Did they take a core sample?
I had to dig something out.
An arrow? Like an arrow? A knife? A railroad spike?
Don't really know.
Okay. All right. So we'll be doing a double run of sterilization tonight. And he does. He's very thorough. Generally, he is mostly okay. Also very tired because all of the dramatic stuff happens at the wrong times of the day. And so he starts tending to your wound. It was a serious wound. You know, you ate enough of Clara in Dreamtropolis to downgrade it from critical to serious. And now he is giving you the necessary medical attention to make most of the statistical problems go away. But you did get something punched into your chest and then have it cut out in extremely brutal impromptu field surgery.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
he comments on how lucky you were that it didn't get you in your lung. However, Bethany also remembers the very distinct sense memory of aspirating blood because it started in her lung.
Thanks, Clara.
Nom nom nom.
Yeah.
And
She'll come off blood because of you. Thank you.
David, he doesn't loom, but he is, of course, there. As he always kind of whichever Van Horst is hurt or compromised. It's been a long day, y'all. Hurt or compromised, he usually kind of does the loom from 6 feet back, the socially distant loom, and he gives you a look. It wasn't a dirty look, but it's kind of a like, you know, that's not how I would have done that sort of thing. And he says, Miss Bethany, it's easier to avoid questions if they look like something else happened to them.
I wasn't trying to do that.
No?
No.
Gives a long, puffy cheeked sigh. If that's happening when you don't want it to happen, that's a problem. Do you want me to stop you?
No. Don't think so.
Okay.
Then I might do it to you.
I don't think either of us would enjoy how that went.
Nope, I don't. If I think I need you to stop me, I'll tell you.
Okay. And he essentially just at that point looms, maybe talks about a ball game he heard on the radio, or put some music on, or whatever it is that he does to help Bethany not think about getting stitched up. And it's closing an open wound where there's stuff missing is a hell of a thing, much worse than just simply a cut. So this is some heavy quilt work.
Yeah.
And I forgot what I was going to say. So it apparently wasn't all that entirely important. And kind of as the night goes on, David doesn't undress to the point of becoming impolite or undignified, but he does like take off his tie, and he sets his tie down, he takes off his jacket, and he puts and he does like unbutton his dress shirt a little bit, essentially just so that like he can like scratch his chest and just exist as a human being. But Bethany, what you notice, you're not in really any place to pin David down and get a straight answer out of him, but you do notice that he's wearing dog tags, but it seems like there's too many of them.
Oh. Oh, great.
Doesn't look like a lot. It doesn't look like it's like a metal version of a necklace of ears. He's not walking around with like a monkey fist of it looks like it's like there's a necklace and then there's two on the necklace and then there's like a loop with another one on there, but there's also a second loop with another one on there. So it's like, oh, it looks like David has extra dog tags around his neck. That's weird. I'll have to ask him about that in a time and place when I'm more equipped to extract information from somebody.
Note for later.
Yeah. So Matthew, Clara, you're muted, Erica. There you go. Yay. So it's been a rough fucking 12 hours for Clara. With the panic attacks and then the panic attacks and the drugs and the vomiting and the big boss bitch energy that she threw out, which is it's exhausting to do that. And then, you know, getting part of your soul eaten by your sister because you love her. It's been a banner day. So as Bethany seems to kind of be returning to a safe place, at least, you know, measured on the scale that you are all working with right now. How do you feel, or how are you acting?
Not great. I mean, she's shaky again and doesn't know if she's nauseous because she's pregnant or because she's hungover from the really strong drugs or just needs more drugs. Maybe she's in withdrawal again, which her brain is telling her, because more drugs will make it better.
Okay.
So she looks over as Bethany is finally calming down and David seems to be there. Goes, I need I'm just gonna go into the next room and get some air and maybe a drink. I love you. It'll be okay. She leans over and kisses Bethany's forehead and then shakily walks into the next room and starts scrubbing her hands because she still really hasn't cleaned the blood off of them good enough.
Matthew will have a drink in hand and already has one poured for Clara. And he will walk over to her with a wet towel and start wiping off her hands.
Sorry.
It's been a long weekend.
Love you.
Love you too. Bethany's gonna be okay.
I think so. I don't know if we went to Metropolis or not. I don't know what that dream was. I think it was real. It felt real, and that's why she wanted me to keep the worms, because it's the Metropolis ones.
Are they still?
Well, that's how I got sick. It's definitely puking those up.
He does kind of like look over to where the trash can is. We look back over. It's like I don't want to look at my.
Bethany wanted them. She needs the medal.
For
magic? I don't know.
How are you holding up?
I really, really want to. The heroin that we got at the pharmacy was fucking great. That was strong, and I would love to use some again, and I really probably shouldn't. Really, really need to stop.
I know that you were worried that you were using too often. I agree with that, but is there a way to bring it back to where it was before? was a little bit better.
Maybe, the doctor said I really need to stop when, after the incident at Mac's party.
We both made choices that were perhaps not in our full capacity.
No, I'm... I think I'm pregnant, Matthew. That's why the doctor wants me to stop.
He drops his glass. Like there's a moment where like it's almost comical because he like starts to drop it and like tries to fumble it, and that just makes him drop it more, and it just like hits the ground. And like it's carpet, we're in a hotel. But like it's a very sort of just like what?
That's why Mac wouldn't let me stab myself there. And this could be a good thing.
Is it mine?
Of course.
Sure.
Yes. I promise you, it is absolutely, absolutely yours. She kind of moves her hands and tries to take his hands.
He takes her hands. Like there's that sort of element of like it's clear that he wasn't sure which he was more afraid she was going to say. We were being careful.
Nothing's foolproof. It's okay. We have money. We can gently hide things and it'll be okay. It's a proper Van Horst child.
What are you going? I'm worried about what this means for you.
I'm a wild actress. There've been rumors like this before. There will be again. It's fine. I'm gonna be fine. It's fine. I just thought you should know. I thought you realized when Max said, but
I did not. No, I didn't realize. It puts some things into context, though.
She dips and grabs his spilled drink and grabs her own and goes to refill both of them so she doesn't have to look him in the eye for a few minutes.
He lets her do that. It's clear that he's not really sure how to look her in the eye right now.
Have a drink. We'll figure this out.
He sets his drink aside after she gives it to him. And he will reach up and cup her cheek. I don't want you to feel abandoned. I don't want you to think that I'm ashamed of this. I'm trying to figure out how we can best navigate this. It wasn't something I really had a plan for.
As long as things go fine, you just navigated that your wild sister got herself in trouble. And you're standing by your sister and taking care of your family.
Will
we don't have to solve this now. You don't even really have to think about it. It's just...
I mean, I'm going to be thinking about it. That's not really something that we can put back into that bottle.
No, we don't have to solve this now, though.
Good, because I don't know how.
It'll be fine. Have a drink, and we should all actually just get some sleep, some actual sleep.
He will kiss her softly, and it's softer than usual. There's almost sort of a hesitation behind it, as if he's unsure, which is not usual for Matthew. And he will pull her into his arms and hug her tightly. We'll find a way. We'll do whatever needs to be done.
I love you so much, and we will figure this out, I promise. And she finally kind of collapses against him, and the tears start.
He strokes her hair and just kind of lets her cry into him. And there's definitely like an aspect of just, it is rare that Matthew is speechless, that he doesn't know what to say. And she can feel that his hands have that, the fingers are cold in the way that you get when you have like an adrenaline rush, basically, like that sort of like panic response that physically happens. Because he's doing his damnedest to mask it. But the physiological like signs are there, and she can feel that his heart is racing.
She kisses the side of his neck, and is still crying. I'm sorry. I know we were careful.
I know you wanted this. I can't ever want you to change what has happened. I want him to have everything that Daniel has had. More. Even if he can't have my name, he has the Van Horst's name.
Exactly. It'll be fine. I promise you.
We'll find a way.
Find a way.
If needed, we can always, I don't know, create a father out of whole cloth. There are ways.
There are.
But
that's for later.
That's later.
We should go check on Bethany, maybe bring her a drink, and maybe try to sleep.
Will you be all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Does Bethany know?
think so. Yeah,
All right. I'll go in. Please be careful. And we'll figure out something about the drugs.
Yeah.
He will press his hand as like he'll step back after they kind of finish. And he'll press his hand to her stomach for a few moments and then go into Bethany's room. How Bethany doing?
Did Bethany get real good pain drugs from the doctor? Because otherwise, she's not happy.
I'm actually going to leave that up to you. Like you got this is this is definitely like, well, what kind of drugs do you want? You know, this is a mob doctor. This is an illicit like cover up of some kind of what looks to him like combat damage or some sort of altercation. So if you say, give me the big mallet, he'll do it. So it's very much what Bethany has requested.
Bethany probably has not necessarily. It's like Bethany's had like more than necessary, like not knocked unconscious, go, but her siblings are the ones who are more experienced with pain management and dosing than she is. And so it would have been like, right, there are things that can make the hurting stop. I would like the hurting to stop now. Meh.
Yeah.
I've thought like it's a thing where it's like she also woke up and was in pain and then was in pain for 3 hours. So like hurt forever, and that's how everything feels. And then like at the point that surgery was starting to happen, at some point she probably would have been making noises of distress.
Oh yeah. Well, he wouldn't have.
Around to like pain management, please.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine it's probably a topical, not topical. You know, a local. There's the word. It's probably a local, and then something to calm you down.
Sure.
So it's probably, Novocaine and a downer.
Sure.
Or whatever works out.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So Bethany is well lubricated.
Okay.
Gently woozy.
Yeah.
Matthew basically will come in and sit on her bedside. How are you feeling?
Shitty.
Did he get patched up at least?
Yeah. She got his pad and
At least they gave you the good drugs.
something for sure.
You said in the car that David was going to kill him. Trying to stop him from doing this. Was killing her first the goal?
No, but I was hungry and then I couldn't stop.
I'm worried about David's eagerness. And what that might cause issues for. Not sure how to deal with that, but it's something that we'll talk about when you're not high. That's a group, maybe.
Sure. He has extra dog tags. David does. He's wearing them.
Used to.
He's got more than the normal number.
Interesting. I'm going to file that away for something to look into.
I mean, maybe it's a buddy or something. I don't know.
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
I hope he hasn't taken to hunting in packs. There's a certain level of him seeing himself as a hound, but let's not get into something so literal. He will take her hand. So Clara told me that she was pregnant.
Oh, she told you. You thought you knew. You didn't know.
I am seemingly the last to know that I didn't know. Yes. That is,
I mean, she told me right before we went to Metropolis or while we were there. I mean, I just found out.
did you go to Metropolis?
She did. It's a good heroine. I don't know. She was.
Does taking heroin take us to Metropolis now?
It did. If it was real.
Yeah, I need to do more heroin.
Well, there's going to be a surplus.
Thing, and yeah, it was sparkly and a thing, and then we could just go there.
What do you want the worms for, Bethany?
A new finger?
That is very sweet. I'm not sure how I feel about a finger made out of worms.
I mean, they get.
But no. I mean, there's been odder things. Everything was part of something else, I suppose. I'd appreciate it, certainly. I still find it awkward. But
I would have tried already, but the ones I had are back home. So
we should visit home again soon. We've been here and we're doing everything that we can here, but I want to talk to Clara about it. Maybe some time home would do us well. I know for you it feels different, but don't you miss it a little bit too?
the house was my whole world. Maybe we should check on little baby Mallory.
A good idea. See how he's doing. We have some things that we'll discuss when you are feeling better as a group. But for now, I just want you to get some rest, okay?
Okay.
He will tuck her in like they are kids again, and we'll head back out into the other room. She's doing well, as one could expect. I think that the three of us should talk when she's a little less in the clouds. But let's let's just try to rest.
Mhm.
We
So
can-
reaches out one hand to try to tug him into the bed.
he will allow himself to be tugged, and will tug her in as well.
Clothes sloppily off, not in like fit of passion, just in too tired.
Yeah,
Thrown
I feel like this is
on the floor. Go to sleep.
yeah. I think that they just curl into each other and go to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
That feels like a very natural
Yeah,
fade to black. Executive producer, da 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 da.
Yes.
All right. So how did that feel, everybody? Like, let's do some debrief. There was a lot of emotions. How's everybody doing? I know we're all tired.
yeah.
Like the humans are tired.
Yeah. I think that I'm a little surprised that Clara was just like so chill. It's because I assume that she's just exhausted at this point. Was so chill with him being like, is it mine though? Are
No,
you
she
sure?
She understands that she did sleep with the cop, but like he's the only one that she used real protection with. Like he got a Johnny at least because she did not want to risk that with him.
Yeah.
She didn't really mind if she and Matthew messed up sometimes. She never really planned it, but if things happened.
Yeah, you guys used the rhythm method, but nobody discussed the time signature.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
No.
okay.
He was basically like, Clara knows what she's doing. Women bodies. Like,
Women bodies.
women bodies do women things.
That's the motivational poster.
Yep.
I hate it. It's so gross.
Yeah, she has slept with other people, so she understands.
Yeah. Like it's the sort of thing where like Matthew's only other real partner that he's ever had was his wife, and that was like they banged enough to get an child and then never again.
Yeah.
So like Matthew's amount of like knowledge of how to like bang when not wanting a child out of it is very, very minimal. And it's all from Clara, who actively kind of wanted to get pregnant from him. So like the level of like sex education knowledge that he has is like a large amount on how to have good sex. Right? But like how to have safe sex is like I'll put it under the screen.
Yeah.
But no, I think it almost like I feel like the it's an interesting thing because we like started at like super high intensity and then slowly like lowered the intensity over the course of the game, which is usually like the opposite of like how that goes. And I kind of liked it like as sort of like a weird like switch up of how things usually go.
Yeah. But I think it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, agreed.
No, it was a good game. I think for as tired as we all were, it was actually great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it fit the characters' brains.
Mm-hmm.
We were up at like
Yep.
4 and 5 a.m. in panics and then terrifying the poor hotel woman. That poor woman.
Yeah.
Poor woman.
Like,
She's still in our trunk.
Yes, she is.
yep.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, we should deal with that at some
We
point.
should ask David to deal with that.
I used to watch The Walking Dead like 7 seasons ago. And we also watched The Talking Dead, which was the wrap-up show after it. And the reason I'm referencing this is because there was an arc where they started doing like in memoriam, but it was for all the zombies. So like if there was a particularly visually distinct zombie, they did like the sad, like in the arms of the angels, like that kind of like sad violin music. And they showed the zombies being killed. And that's like in my head, like the poor woman. And then that's the format that rolled through my head. It was a good game. I think we're into a spot now where we're ready to continue moving into the story. Like we had a really good side thing.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna do something else, which I think is gonna be fun. We didn't quite set up Bethany to not be here next game, but we can figure that out.
Yeah.
Because people are happening cool cats that do happen in cool cat stuff. So
I feel good.
yeah, I think that's about it. We're gonna do some, we're gonna talk and negotiate and actually also be friends and talk about like other nerd shit. And then we'll discuss about things going forward. We have had a couple discussions, like we've gotten together with as players individually, like I've talked with everybody, and we're going to do it some more, and then we're going to have some more group discussions. We're going to be progressing into Weirdsville. This isn't Weirdsville. This is actually the suburbs of Weirdsville. Like we are going to go deep into Weirdsville, and we're going to do it on purpose. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's also kind of interesting because I feel probably statistically there's not a lot of cult games, not even streams, but I don't feel like there's a lot of cult games that go into enlightenment. I feel like a lot of people stay in the awakened tier of play, which is a perfectly great place. And you could play like a 20 or once a week campaign there. But we're going to be puttering around in the enlightened tier, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to explore that.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
It'll get weird.
It's going to get hella weird. So like if you're watching tonight, you can say I was there before they nuked the planet.
We'll have to
I was there before they made everything worse.
Yeah.
Oh well, let's be honest. We've made everything worse most of the time that we've been here.
Dude, I have an entire folder up here of all the different ways I'm ready for you to make it even worse.
That's how I know you care.
Yeah, I have like an entire like Pinterest board of just like body horror art.
What I'm finding amusing is that I'm like, well, if I get a worm finger, then I'm gonna have to go from like wrapping my hand for games to like painting it silver or something. Also, I need you to know that my partner heard me say worm finger and just looked over and went like this.
Someone else needs an anatomy lesson, apparently.
Look. It's cult. Come for the dysfunctional family, stay for the worm fingers.
Come for the incest, stay for the worm fingers.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Good Lord. So we're going to hand the stream off to Curtis here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But I do want to let y'all know that we are going to do, we being the TTRP channel, I have heard that we're going to start working on doing some charity streams, some little fundraising drives. If you were here, I think it was almost a year ago now. We did some charity drives for a member of the community who's done a lot of music and was very much missed. We did some charity things for their family, and we're going to try to do some other charity focused activities. Curtis, the ever-present wizard, actual goddamn wizard behind the curtain, is going to talk some more about that. If you are still awake, Curtis is also going to do Marble Madness, which is all you have to do is just stay on Twitch, and it's you drop the little marbles through a 3D modeled landscape, and you get far too emotionally invested in a tiny little rolling, like reboot style ball with your name above it. Like it's fantastic. Humans will pack bond with anything. So and then he's going to have a lot to say about what's been going on and what's coming up. So if you want to hear more, if you want to have emotional responses to CG marbles, if you want to hear Curtis talk, then hang out and hear what they've got to say. Okay, it's going to be 10 minutes. So we're going to We're going to flush the pipes and start all over, which is perfectly fine. So that's it for us, guys. Please enjoy, use your safety mechanics, drink your water. It's still going to be hot. We hope you have a good night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. So thank you very much. Good night.